So we have a little bit of an interesting story about Jerry Falwell Jr. It appears that Falwell Jr. is exposing a relationship, in a way, throwing his wife under the bus, uh, that she had with a pool boy who was apparently trying to blackmail him, according to Falwell Jr. Again, there's a lot of moving parts, I think, to this story. And so, look, Jerry Falwell Jr. He's the president of the of Liberty University. It's a very right wing school, very religious organization, and so that means, of course, there's going to be plenty of dirty laundry. Now, I didn't think the amount of dirty laundry would take up a whole laundromat, but here we are. So let's try to go through and make as much sense of this as we can. Okay. So now this comes from Falwell Jr., who spoke to the Washington Examiner. And so he comes out and he says, look, man, I've been super depressed. And here I'm going to throw my wife under the bus and explaining why, and also why I was in some weird photo with my zipper down, and, getting caught in all these embarrassing events or situations, right? So, as I said before, there was that photo with Falwell and his wife's assistant, pictured with their pants unzipped and their stomachs exposed, where you can still, and I'm sorry for putting this into your head, but you can see his undies, right? So now I don't understand in what world that a picture like that would be a good idea. Why would you do that? I mean, even if you're not the head of a religious organization, why would you allow that picture to happen? That's weird. Very weird. Especially since, like I said, head of a Christian organization with a very strict moral dress code, you wouldn't get caught dead in the halls of Liberty University with your pants unzipped. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It's so strange. All right. So now, Politico did point out, I don't know if they're trying to be kind or they're like, oh, yeah, hey, you know what? It looks like it was a parody of the Trailer Park Boys. Now, when asked about that, Falwell was like, whatever. Wait, no, that's your out. And be like, we were totally doing a parody of Trailer Park Boys. Now, that, of course, would admit that he knows what Trailer Park Boys is and has possibly watched it, which, if you guys know, if you've ever seen that, not exactly a Christian-friendly show. I'm just saying. So, again, this blows up, as stories like this often do. And so he tells the Examiner some of the details and says, I cannot believe all this stuff has happened, and now I am depressed. Well, why don't you go pray about it, dude? I mean, that's kind of what you do, right? Just go pray about it. God will take care of that, or not. Okay, I know I'm mean. So now let's get into more details, right? So now Falwell Jr. claims that his wife Becky Tilley had an affair with a young man known now as the pool boy, right? Okay, all right. Now, the man in question has been identified as Giancarlo Granda. So now, in a statement, Falwell explains that during a vacation over 8 years ago, Becky and I met an ambitious young man who was working at our hotel and was saving up his money to go to school. Oh, it's one of those stories, right? Oh, this young man, I just wanted to help this young man out because he was very ambitious when he was serving us. Oh, okay. Well, this is fun. So now they said we encouraged him to pursue an education at Liberty University and a career, and we were impressed by his initiative in suggesting a local real estate opportunity. My family members eventually made an investment in a local property, included him in the deal because he could play an active role in managing it, and became close with him and his family. Yes, real close. Because he had the initiative to fuck your wife. Just saying, that's what happened. So now, shortly thereafter, he adds, Becky had an inappropriate personal relationship with this person, something in which I was not involved. He has to point that out. It was nonetheless very upsetting to learn about. Okay. The phrasing here is slightly odd. I mean, to me at least. That saying that uh, very inappropriate personal relationship, something in which I was not involved in. Why would you need to add that? Obviously, nobody else thought that you were involved. Who thought that you were involved in an affair that your wife was having with the pool boy? Who thought that? Why would you need to bring that up? That's really weird. Okay, we'll get to that, right? Because I think there's a reason. So once the alleged affair was over, Falwell says, well, we tried to distance ourselves from him over time, but he unfortunately became increasingly angry and aggressive. So now allegations, right? Eventually, they said he began to threatening to publicly reveal the secret relationship with Becky and to deliberately embarrass my wife, family, and Liberty University unless we agreed to pay him substantial monies. Oh, so it's extortion, is it? Ah, it's funny. They kept talking about his initiative, right? I mean, hey, going from pool boy to possibly very rich person while sticking it to Falwell's wife, hey, that's some initiative. It's also some rather big cojones. Like, damn. It's daytime television shit. So now the Examiner said that Granda, who was 21 at the time, again, young and taking initiative. I wonder. You know what? I wonder how old Mrs. Falwell Jr. was. I'm just saying. That's a question. That's an interesting question, right? So now Granda says, hey, any allegation of extortion is falsely defamatory and belied by clear documentary evidence. Well, I would love to see that documentary evidence. That would be very interesting. Notice how he doesn't, of course, say that he didn't have the affair, which again is very interesting. The Falwell's attempt to sandbag me and the Examiner with a last-minute story without providing the Examiner clear evidence that this was not simply an affair with concocted allegations of extortion reeks desperation. The whole truth will come out. The whole truth. I don't know. I mean, well, we're waiting. Let's see the truth. I'm very interested in seeing how this goes. Okay. So look, let's be honest. Normally I would say I don't care about people's dirty laundry. I get it, right? Everybody's got something, everybody's got something a little bit in the closet, right? Maybe some skeletons here and there, sure. But the reason that we talk about Falwell Jr. and the reason that I'm okay with talking about it, right, is because the hypocrisy, right? So this is somebody whose main purpose in life, running Falwell Liberty University, right, is hurting members of the LGBT community, making them feel as if they are not human, right? Making them feel as if they are wrong and sinful and dirty, right? So he loves getting involved in other people's sex lives, okay? That's why I think, hey, you know what? If you have that position, you love getting involved in people's sex lives where you are not welcome, all right, well, hey, there's a story about your sex life. Or I should say your lack of sex life. Then again, there is also a word for that. It's called being cucked. So Wright tends to use that quite a bit. But in this case, it's definitely applicable, or could be at least, if that is the whole truth that this man is talking about. So I don't know. But it goes back to, judge not lest ye be judged, right? Well, he loves to go and judge other people's sex life. If you're a member of the LGBT community, especially. And so, I mean, hey, where did I hear that again? It sounds kind of familiar. Maybe they would know about this. Again, I'm fine with talking about this. And also, I'm sure there's a lot more to this involving Falwell Jr. Again, the phrasing that sticks out to me is, I wasn't involved, and compare it to the whole truth will come out. So I'm pretty sure, look, nobody here would be surprised. Let's just say that if it was revealed that Falwell Jr. is also involved with that pool boy, and that it's a big, big scandal. Now, here's the thing about that, right? Look, society doesn't care if you're gay or bi or pan or whatever, right? It's fine. Do you, man? It's all good. It's all good. The problem here is the hypocrisies, again, as I again point out, right? Your school exists to teach people that being anything but straight and cis is wrong and should be punished. That people who don't fit into those, into some very neat boxes or positions, right? Um, in a thing that's actually more of a spectrum, right? Sexuality is a spectrum, gender is a spectrum. Um, they say that no, you don't fit into those very neat definitions of what we think is okay. You're wrong and immoral, and you should be ostracized from society. Well, I don't agree with that. That's why I think it's totally fair to go after these people. Not because I believe in having alleged threesomes or having gay sex is wrong. No, the complete opposite. I think it's great. I think it's fine. I don't partake myself, but even if I did, who the hell cares? It's not my business, right? But like, again, it's the hypocrisy of the situation. And so understand that a lot of what I just said is my speculation on what's going on. We don't really know what happened. Obviously, there are only 3 people that know the truth, right? And odds are one of them definitely lying.